Hi Mick.
Hi.
Hi. Well, new album, new Simply Red album after two solo albums. But a quick question about the previous Simply Red album, Stay. How do you look back on that album?
Well, I mean, that was then. It's not now. I don't see the point in looking back on that album. What's
No?
the point? I'm here to talk about this album.
No, I was just thinking
not
maybe
something
what
that
is
happened.
what is
What's
the
the difference?
Yeah, what's the difference from
The difference is this is more focused. This is more. That came about because in the summer of last year, my manager came to see me and said, "You're probably not aware, but next year would have been the 30th anniversary of Simply Red. What are you going to do about it?" And I said, "Well, what do you want me to do about it?" And he said, "Well, you could tour." And that was what got this going. I started thinking, what is it people like about Simply Red, and what would Simply Red sound like in 2015? And it's really because of that focus that it enabled me to sort of almost design the songs for what I thought people would like. When I did the Stay album, I was kind of running away from what I thought people would like. I wanted to do something different, a little bit more traditionally British somehow. And so when I ended Simply Red in 2010, I'd already started writing some songs that were different to Simply Red.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, 2 songs from that session have survived and are on this album.
Which songs?
The songs Dad and Each Day.
And in hindsight, you wrote them, well, you said you started writing them 5 years ago. Did it turn out the way that you thought they would sound back then?
Well, they didn't sound that much like Simply Red, most of them, but I haven't figured out a way of releasing it yet because of this anniversary happening.
Yeah.
So with this anniversary, I had the choice. I could either allow the record company to release yet another greatest hits, and then I thought to myself, well, if they're going to want to do that, then at least I could give the fans 1 or 2 new songs. So that's when I started writing songs, thinking about Simply Red. So the first song I wrote for that session was Big Love, and then I thought, well, that's a good title track for an album, and I can't remember the second one I wrote. But I wasn't entirely satisfied. I didn't think it would be a single, so then I wrote another song. Then when I got to the third song, I suddenly thought, hey, this could be a challenge, Why don't I, instead of allowing them to release a greatest hits, why don't I write an album? Try and take on the challenge of writing 12 tracks and see how I get on, and here we are.
Was it hard? Was it easy to write Felson? Because this is the first album since Live that features original material.
It was a lot of fun. I
Yeah.
really enjoyed it, but it was also a little bit frustrating because I like to get a group of opinions, from people around me about the tracks, and we needed the opening single. We needed Shine On. And I kept thinking I had it, but they kept knocking me back.
Why?
They said, I wrote Love Gave Me More, and they said, yeah, we like it, yeah, but it's not the first single, we don't hear it as the first single. We didn't hear Dad as the first single, we didn't hear Big Love as the first single. And then I wrote, another song, and they said, oh, that's not the first single. So I was almost tearing my hair out thinking, what do I need to do to make these guys like this? And then finally I managed to, the last song I wrote was Shine On. So I got it in the end.
How come you got it in the end?
Just took time to, I don't know, it's a random, it's not science,
Yeah.
It's you don't really know when you've got something. So
There's a line in that song, you've broken down a wall, and then you say, in the end, now I feel 10 feet tall. I guess this is about your wife, right? Or
that song is more about my daughter.
daughter, okay.
Yeah, and being 10 feet tall is being very proud of shiny eyes.
Yeah.
You know, kids, they have a wonderful optimism in their faces, you know. And so when I'm singing Shiny Eyes, I'm just thinking of her little eyes looking up to the sky and just her whole life ahead of her, her whole future, you know. And the general theme of the album is really about family.
Yeah.
Parts of it are inspired by my daughter, parts of it are inspired by my wife. The aforementioned song Dad was about my father, my late father. So it really encapsulates for me the whole family experience.
Yeah, the song Dad, you already said that you wrote it, you started writing it 5 years ago. Was it hard to write down these lines? Because it's older. Was it hard to write this song?
Well, he'd not long died.
Yeah.
And so
I think he died the year before?
yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, no, it wasn't so hard to write. I felt honoured to write it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm very. My father was a very extraordinary guy. With his for his years of devotion to me, and bringing a guy in 1963, bringing up a child, bringing up a 3-year-old, was very rare, you know. And he kept his job. He didn't go on welfare. So he worked 6 days a week with 2 half days. He did all the cooking. He never married again. So in essence, for the 18 years, there was just me and my dad. There were no grandparents. 2 of them were died, and from my mother's side, I never had contact with them. So for the first 18 years of my life, there was me and my dad, with babysitters occasionally. And he did all the cooking, he did all the cleaning, he did all the laundry, and he also looked after a kid and held down a 6-day-week job. This is a pretty remarkable guy, so quite easy to pay tribute to him.
And was it
actually.
for you even better to understand once you became a dad yourself?
Well, this was one of the things that I think, you know, because when I lost my father, he already knew my daughter.
I think she was 2 years old.
Yeah. And so they'd spent time together in Paris and in London, and he, you know, when my father did die, I was so grateful that he'd had time with her, and that that I actually had another family. Because if I'd not had my wife and my daughter, losing my dad would be the equivalent to you of losing your mother, your father, all your sisters and your grandparents all in one go, you know. So when my father died, I lost everything, my whole world. So thank heavens for my daughter and my wife, because I don't know what sort of shape I would be in now, losing everything like that, you know.
And was your dad aware of this situation? That it was really important for you to have a family yourself, for him?
I'm not so sure, really. I don't know. This generation of guy, they don't talk very much. They don't express much emotion. You know, it's not really their thing.
It's hypothetical, I know. What would he say of this song? What do you think?
Well, I think he'd say in his northern accent, I quite like that song. It's not bad, that song. Yeah. I think he'd like it. I hope he would, because I'm very proud of it. I think I tried my best to pay tribute to him well, you know.
Yeah, because I can imagine to write a lyric like this, you must also feel that you can accompany the lyric with a song that you're proud of, you know what I mean?
Well, it has to be real.
Yeah.
You know. And occasionally journalists in these times have said to me, well, these songs are very personal, you know, and somebody might even say too personal, but they misunderstand the magic of music when they say that. Because the thing is, the more personal a song is, the more the song could be personal to you, you know. So when I write a song called Dad, the listener inevitably will start to think about their dad and their mom and everybody around them, you know. And that's when a song can hit home in that way, in a personal way, it makes it more more valuable somehow, more precious.